everyone. Good morning, and welcome once again to our weekly SonRise Project call, where it's always a wonderful, safe space here with people that are looking to find peace and uh, solace in a space that's really filled with love, compassion, and mutual desire to heal, starting with ourselves and our families. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I am so delighted and honored, quite frankly, to have with us this morning my incredible eldest son, Kyle Lawson, who worked late last night but got up early this morning to be here with us. And I'm so honored and happy to have him here. It's a very special edition of our SonRise Project call because it's also our sixth anniversary. We have been doing this for 300 and I think 10 weeks.
Cover, we
And
want covers.
and whoever, somebody, if you could mute yourself, there's somebody not muted. Let me see.
I got it, Kelly.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you, Dee. So back to it. Let's start over. Our guest today on this very special SonRise Project call is Kyle Lawson. It is our 6-year anniversary. We have been doing these calls for over 300 weeks. And what started off in 2019 as a real single prayer and a desperate need for community in a dark time in my life and in Kyle's life and our family's life has really grown into something so much bigger and so much more. At that time in 2019, and when we started in 2020, I was really just like everybody here, or most people here, mom, looking for answers, looking for hope, looking for a way to support my son, in fact, both my sons, through the complexities of life. And as we all know, when we are granted the privilege of becoming mothers, there's no guidebook, there's no rule book. We do the best we can with what we know. And so at that time, back in 2020, when SonRise was born, I felt really alone. I felt full of shame and guilt, really sad, and didn't know what to do or where to turn. And so that's why this community was born as a place for us to connect and communicate and share and be vulnerable and learn how to better communicate and better create relationships with our children. So today, here we are. I know I've grown. I know Kyle has grown. I know we are still here, and I'm grateful that we're still here, standing and getting better and improving our relationships daily. So this is a full circle moment today. 6 years later, Kyle Lawson, who is the spark and the flame for the SonRise Project, is now 23 years old, living, working, and really walking through his journey of life, becoming a young man that God has destined him to be. And he is the reason we're all here. So this morning, Kyle agreed to come back and openly and courageously share about his journey and our journey as a family. And most importantly, for our community to help us learn how we as parents can better communicate and better build relationships with our children. So I am so grateful to bridge the gap between my perspective as a parent and Kyle's lived experience with me and with our family. So thank you, Kyle, for being here, for getting up early. I know you worked late last night. I'm so happy that you're here with us this morning.
No problem. You're welcome.
Good morning. I'm going to put you on spotlight so everybody can see your very handsome face. And so I want to start by looking back at our journey. And as you reflect on your personal journey over the last 6 years, how are you feeling today versus where you were 6 years ago? And quite frankly, I'll share 6 years ago, we had a real traumatic experience happening, and we had sent you to a wilderness program. Um, so we'll talk about that too. But let's start with where you are today and how you're feeling today. How are you doing?
I can't complain. I think I'm much closer to a place of peace mentally, and yeah, very appreciative of that. So, yeah.
And how do you think you have gotten to that place of peace mentally today?
Learning how to not worry about what I can't control, for the most part, at least, and kind of I think a lot of it, for me at least, that was causing me a lot of the trouble. What really was just concerning myself with, what's going on with other people, or what other people were thinking about me, or nowadays it's like I still want to be knowledgeable about, what's going on, especially these days, but sticking to what's right for me, and taking it just like one step at a time, I guess.
One step at a time. That's so good. Is there a specific moment as you look back to high school and some of those times when I believe it was your junior year, maybe sophomore and junior year, when things started to change in our dynamic and as a family? Was there a specific moment you recall when the dynamic shifted? For me, specifically trying to fix things or being controlling or any of that, was there a moment in time that you remember that shifted our dynamic in the family? And you can be honest. I
I think,
mentioned one of them, but you can share.
yeah, I remember, maybe it was before I started like doing drugs. But I was like, I remember I had straight A's. I was, top 15 in the country, and I was pretty much good at everything that I was doing.
In swimming, when you say top 15 in the country for
Like
people who
PowerPoint index, and like 13th in 100 fly or something, long course meters. Like it was like specific. Um, and I was 14, so it's not that bad. But it was. I felt like I was doing everything I was supposed to do. I was in like I was 2 grades above the rest of my grade in math, and I was in like calculus, and just getting straight A's, like Spanish. I think my lowest grade was like a 98. And then I was like just trying to hang out with my girlfriend at the time, which I mean I was young. And I remember you just would not let me, like I just wanted to go out to a like party with her and our friends, just like a Halloween party. And no one was like really drinking yet at that time, or like not a lot of people. I don't think I would have done that because I was super disciplined, but you just would not let me go. Um, and so I tried to go out anyway, and then I got in trouble. But I remember just being really upset about that because I was like, well, what else can I do? I just didn't understand it. Um, so yeah, I just got really upset, and then I think I started kind of just rebelling a little bit after that.
hmm
So I just didn't appreciate it because I was like, I mean, if I can't do it, like what? I was like, these guys over here, like I was like, damn, these got kids vaping and smoking and doing whatever. I was like, I'm not like these guys. Like, why can't I go? So I was really upset about that. I just didn't get it. Um, so I think that's where I started kind of being like, well, I might as well anyway. Screw it.
because of the control. Yeah. And I remember that. I remember the control was coming from a space of fear. And I remember, you grew up in a predominantly white environment, Bethesda, Maryland. And there were so many things happening with young Black men that I um, was really fearful of something happening to you. And so that's where that control came from. Not that that's justified at all, but just so I'm acknowledging where it was coming from. There was such a parenting out of a fear space. And I remember specifically saying no parties. I remember that because I knew what was happening with certain people at those parties. And I did not want any of that to happen to you because I knew you were such a and still are a special human being. And to your point, you're saying I was getting straight A's, I was top in the country swimming. I just wanted to go hang out and make my own choices. And we were so controlling, which then led to you. You said I tried to sneak out. Yeah, you jumped out of a window, you snuck out in the middle of the night, like all of those things. And the more those things happen, the more we punish, right?
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
got worse and worse and worse.
Yeah. This is all good. It's all good.
Well, I apologize for my part in that. I really do. Because looking back, like we can't, Nana always says we can't get the time back. But boy, I wish I could get the time back because What? You want to say something? I see your hands coming up. What are you trying to say?
But there's no point apologizing, like stuff happens, I wouldn't be here or mentally us in a good place if it didn't happen. So I might as well just be appreciative that it happened. Even though it wasn't fun at the time, but like stressing or worrying about it, it's not gonna, there's no point. Past is the past, stuff happens,
I
so.
love that attitude that the past is the past. So, what are some of the things you would say to parents who are on now? A lot of people are on the call that are parents listening to us today about better communicating with their children, with our children. What are some things you would offer as advice on how to better communicate with our children?
Um, that's an interesting question, because people, I guess, parent differently. I think, yeah, you're not gonna let your kid do everything, obviously. If they're like, yo, like I want to go to Pennsylvania or I want to go to Miami right now and get an Airbnb with my three homies, and I'm four, and you're 14 years old. Maybe you're like, you gotta earn, or at least you have a conversation about it. So I get, and they gotta earn it or something, even though
At 14?
that'd be wild, that'd be wild, that's why I'm not saying what's right or wrong. I'm just saying like most people probably won't allow that, but that doesn't mean you can't have like a convo about it, or maybe you like come to some sort of like compromise, or something. I just think you need to have a discussion with them in general. And maybe it doesn't always go the way they want it to, but
Hmm.
at least you can talk about it, try to find like some middle ground. Because if you try to control it, they're teenagers, like they're gonna rebel. Like there's nothing you can do to stop that. They're gonna rebel. It's just
If
like,
you try to control it.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's just trying to control anybody, honestly, is not the smartest thing. It's and no matter what age group that is, like you try and control somebody, like you naturally they're not gonna appreciate that. They're just not. It's just
That's
a
the control versus allowing, accepting, and communicating, because that's what I'm hearing you say.
yeah,
It's
but
having conversations, which I don't think happened a lot in our household. We were just like, no, you can't do that. And bedtime's 8 o'clock, which sounds crazy now, looking back, that we had you all in bed by 8 and in
wake
like
up.
junior high school.
I had to wake up at 4, so it wasn't that unreasonable. I had to wake up at 4 and eat my first breakfast, and then go to my practice, and then shower, and then go to school, and then go to my second practice, and then work out, and then what am I supposed to do? Stay up till midnight? And it's not that unreasonable. Like
It wasn't unreasonable, but it looks I remember it would be like a second after 8, 8:05, and I'd be
that that
busting out
that
it.
that was a little
That
unreasonable.
was unreasonable.
Like,
Or are you trying to, like, we didn't believe in TVs in anybody's rooms other than the big, the room after the kitchen. Didn't believe in that. Couldn't have your phones. You had to check your phones in before you went upstairs. Like some of the things were a little nutty, I think.
I wasn't that mad at the phone, like in high school, like we stopped doing that. And like I wasn't mad about the no TV. Like I had a nice mirror. I don't I think some of those things are just like I said, it's just different ways of parenting. I like that's not bad. Like I get it, I'll get over it. That wasn't
Mhm.
It's natural. Those are just your rules. Like
Right. We had house rules.
that's fine.
And and do you think that's what I think where I think a big part of where we went wrong was we had how where our relationship started to sever was I had and your dad we had house rules. It's like we have to do this by this time, this by this time, this by this time, and sometimes you went outside those rules. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, yeah.
And then the response to that, I think, was where the challenge was. Like one of the rules was no food outside the kitchen. That to me is a
Oh
very,
yeah, yeah, you hated that.
but it's pretty basic. Don't take food anywhere except outside the kitchen. That's what the kitchen's for. And then I would see plates and no
Well,
soda. We didn't believe in any soda either.
was it? It's reasonable. It's pretty bad, but no, I'll say this. I'll say this. Like
Wait, which part's really bad? Which part's really bad?
soda is actually pretty like I'm not saying no soda is crazy, a little bit, but it's gonna destroy your liver and your gut, and it's gonna like mess up your teeth. Like so, maybe just not a lot. Moderation, moderation. I don't. I'm not mad. Like that's not that unreasonable. I know other households that did that as well. But yeah,
But the
the no
food in the
food,
bedroom,
the no food. No. Well, yeah, that and the soda, but it wasn't like I was gonna be eating in my room. It's just like if I like took it upstairs or something like, and I was just on my phone and you caught me like eating upstairs, you get so mad. I was,
I would get so mad. How do you, like the juxtaposition of, oh, soda's really bad for you, but weed is okay. Like the weed smoking. When did,
Well, I never said it's not bad for you.
okay.
I just like smoking, But like, it's definitely not good. I don't
And
think
when did,
smoking anything is
is
good.
not good. When did you
Yeah.
start smoking
Uh,
marijuana?
smoking when I was 15, I think. Yeah, 15.
And what prompted that? Like, how did that start? Because, like you said, you were such an elite athlete. It would think to me that you'd say, no, I'm not going to put anything like that in my body.
Well, I wasn't, and then I was just like, I don't understand. Like at a certain point, if I can, if I'm the most disciplined person and I can't go do anything, because I feel like half the reason like I was being disciplined was because that's like what it was like I was supposed to do in my household. Eventually, I was just like, if I'm gonna be in like trouble anyway, like might as well just smoke. So then I yeah. So my friends like were like here, and I was like, bet, and then smoke, and then
Mm.
start continue that for a while. Um, Made some stupid decisions, but
Stupid decisions. Like,
not because of
what
the
would
weed though. Like I think the other drugs were worse. So I was
and when did that
maybe
happen? I'm
weed
sorry to cut you off, but oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
weed is just I don't know. Like I was never causing any trouble out the weed. Like it's just pot. Like I'm pretty positive, pretty calm, pretty relaxed. Like I don't think weed's gonna make me do anything crazy. I'm just
But
gonna be a calm, peaceful guy.
the conundrum, though, at the time is it was illegal in the state of Maryland. And
All
so
my friends had medical, like Connor had a med card. Like I wasn't even hanging with Connor at that time. Actually, no, I'm tripping. I was hanging with like Aiden.
exactly. Because your friends, that I want to talk about that, like how you define friends. That became another huge rift between us because you had a group of friends, Alex and I can't even remember Josh, I think, or Josh, and all those guys were like a group of friends. They were always coming over to the house and hanging out, and I viewed them like you, as like a good kid, clean, wasn't into drugs, anything like that. And then at some point, your friend group shifted. To me, it seemed like it shifted. And it seemed like they were the kids that you were new young men and women that were completely foreign to me. We didn't know them. They never came to the door, which when I grew up, you came to the door and you said, hi, Mr. Richardson. Hi, Miss Richardson. And you chit-chatted. You're the new friends. I put that in air quotes, will pull up in front of the house and you would run out the house and jump in the car and they would drive off, speed off, and I would be outside running down the street in my robe and slippers,
It's
trying
because
to catch you.
yeah, I just didn't want them to talk to you because I didn't want to be embarrassed at the time. So I was just like, we're not talking. And then it's how I'd hop in the whip, we'd be out of there. And I just personally, I was just like, I don't want them to talk to you because I knew you were gonna question them. I knew you were gonna be like, hey, like, and I asked him 100 things, and I was smoking weed, that's what it was. Like, and you were gonna get upset about it. So I was like, if I'm gonna get in trouble anyway, like I'd rather just not deal with the conversation about that at all. So I just wouldn't. So I just happened to whip. I was like, I don't want to deal with
And do you understand why I was so crazy and running
it.
down the street
Yeah,
after
yeah,
you?
but I was like, but I was like, I'm not trying to deal with that. Like, I'm just trying to smoke. Like, I do not want any part of that. So I just like, no. I was like, I'd rather just, if I'm getting in trouble anyway, at least I don't have to deal with the yelling and tripping. So I was like, I just ran out, hopped in the
And
car.
this was the yelling and the tripping part. Because
I
yes,
was
I was
like,
not calm like I am today.
yeah, I was,
But do you understand like how difficult that was as a mom of a um, tall black man, the only black person hopping in a car of a bunch of white men, and how fearful I was because it was illegal. And so the conundrum and the worry was
that's a good question. Sorry.
you getting stopped. You see, yeah, Dee asked you a question. You said you didn't want to be embarrassed. Were you embarrassed by your friends, or of your mom?
At that point in time, it was my mom, but at the same time, like I would, there's definitely part of it where like Aiden, I would not have wanted it. Like my mom, I don't think would have liked Aiden, not because he was super nice and super chill, but he's like have you ever seen Scooby Doo and there's Shaggy and he's just like he's the most classic. Seems like he's from California. Like yeah, no, like my mom would not have. And they were
No.
nice. Like they were nice people and whatever whatnot, but like they don't have my back. Like the friend group that I ended up with later in high school, and like we did some crazy stuff too for sure. But like they always like have my best interest. Like they would call like check on me. Like we're still friends to this day. Like we'll still call each other like see how we're doing, even though we're um all over the place, like different parts of the country. I remember like when like they all their families, love me. Like my friend Connor's family just took me to Costa Rica. We were staying at like Elizabeth Taylor's old house. It was cool, and like there's stuff like that that never would have happened with that prior friend group. So I think I was a little bit embarrassed of both parties, but mostly I just didn't want to have those,
You
conversations.
thought I would cause a scene.
Yeah, I still think you probably would have caused the same.
I would have. You're correct. And Aiden, you wore his suit to prom. We didn't know where you were for
Oh,
like
that
a
wasn't
week.
even. Oh, I had to wear a bow suit but by that point I was cool. Like Bo and I had started hanging, but I wasn't like super close friends with Bo yet. And the thing with Bo is his family is pretty chill. Like he played football. He's like a receiver and stuff. So he's like football family. He played Maplewood too, actually. I just didn't know him at the time.
Right. But I remember going to his house and his dad, because I came looking for you. We came looking for you. We came
Yeah.
to Bill's house, and his father was talking about because certain families allowed their kids to drink and do whatever in the basement, and we didn't allow that. And I remember him saying, "Well, they're just kids. They're just drinking beer and hanging out." And I said,
That's
"No,
well, that is. I mean, well, like,
that's not okay to me."
oh, see, okay, so
As a parent, to let your kid knowingly let your kids and their friends drink and smoke in their house.
well, here's the thing. Here's the thing is like, I understand because it's illegal technically, but the thing is like you're acting like this is I think where the disconnect is because in my opinion, like no matter what, if you are any like you're in high school, kids are going to do like they're going to drink, they're going to smoke weed. That is going to happen. There's
How, but really, like you saying 100% of kids, 100% of kids?
like I don't know anybody that.
I didn't.
Well, no, no, I know, but like it's a different time than it was with you. And I'm not saying like I think there might be a couple, but realistically, like I'm just saying like okay, in terms of would you rather your kid like go drink and they're going out with I'm not saying you have to support it, because that's messed up. Like I'm not saying it's good, like it is illegal, like it's just with those type of parents in their eyes, they're like I would rather have I'd rather it be in
Yeah.
the safety of my home than
Yeah,
outside with people that we don't know, which is, and I'm not saying
that makes
every
sense.
single kid does that, but more people do it than you think is all I'm saying. And I'm not trying to be like, hey, like you should be concerned, like your kid's doing this, because like I said, like once you start doing that, it's the control thing is going to happen. But I just think it's naive, I guess, to think that kids don't want to try stuff. Like this is they're kids. Like that's when he says like they're kids, they're drinking a couple of beers. Like we play football and basketball, and swim, and I guess like that to me, like those type of things. Shit, someone said I hear that a lot. It's a different time. I'm not trying to say it's good. It's really not. It's not good. Like I'm not saying I support it necessarily. I'm just saying like that is a thing that a lot of teenagers, are gonna try. Like there's gonna
Right.
be probably a party where you have your first beer, it might be 17. I don't think that's that awful of a thing.
I
I
think you're
was,
right. Looking back now, I know you're right. For me, my parents and I think Nana may be on actually, but I grew up in a fairly strict household, and so we weren't allowed to do those things. But I know the times are different now. So I want to ask another question. When you were running out the house, jumping in the cars. I was calling, go, 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 because I didn't know where you were going mostly. That was my biggest concern, or who you were with. Didn't know those people. What would you say, like when you were rebelling or when you were pulling away, what would you say you really needed most from me that I didn't know how to ask for? What did you need most?
I'd say I don't know if I just think I needed to learn. That's one of those things. I was 15, 16. Like you gotta mess up a little bit to learn. Sometimes you can't. It's hard to learn with, at least for me, without having gone through it. You can hear about it and then sorry, and learn perspective and gain positive perspective from it, and then maybe you like use that to make better decisions, in the future. And that's always awesome, and that'll help you, in your decision making process. But for your like actual brain to change for the better, like for me, I had to mess up. I had to go through things because I'm stubborn personally, and
You
I'm
think?
like,
And you're Leo. Uh-huh.
yeah, I don't know. So I had to mess up, and it's like during that is hard, but if you're willing to learn eventually, for me, it took me a while, then I think you'll be fine. So I don't know. If anything, maybe we could have talked about it more, but I had to, I just had to go mess up a little bit, and I think that's fine. Well, not good during, while it's happening, because I think you're trying to guide your kid to not mess up, and you're scared that, oh, I'm a young black man in a white area, but then the other side of it's the white area is Bethesda, like it's like at a certain,
It's a
you
fairly
gotta
liberal
find,
city.
you gotta find some sort of balance. I
Hmm.
don't know what that balance would be, but I think if you just talk about it at the least, maybe you can come to an understanding or something, or maybe.
Well, that's the key. It's the communication. And that first time, I remember that party. You wanted to go to a party. I
Yeah.
remember we were like, no parties, period. It wasn't even a conversation. So it's no, there's no parties happening. And so I appreciate that. I want to ask another question. Um, what substances or risky behavior really became a part of your life? Like, because I think the other issue I had was people often saying it's true statistically that marijuana is often a gateway drug. And so I was so worried about it becoming another issue, and I have friends who have lost their children literally to overdose. The first time they smoked weed, it was laced with fentanyl. And that was such a massive fear of mine that it would become a gateway to something else. And did that happen?
I don't know if it became a gateway. I definitely did some other drugs though, yeah. But it gets to a point. So like, mostly I was just smoking weed. Like that was just my drug of choice personally.
Mhm.
That we go to a party, we drink, get some beers, and like watch a game or whatever it is. But other than that, I had some good times, some fun times. Not encouraging it. Doing acid with my boy, like friends a couple times, but like later in high school. But that, that's
You said acid?
but that's a psychedelic. So it's just like with my friends, like that's fun. Done shrooms many times, but shrooms are more of like an earthy one. So I wouldn't do that unless you're at like a good place mentally. Um,
Mm.
Cocaine, a lot of that.
Oh God.
Molly, a couple times.
Okay. That's
I know
that's
cocaine I wasn't doing in high school though. I didn't do that till more like college probably. Yeah. So, but yeah,
okay.
those are like the ones. And yeah, but I mostly would just do it like if I were to do any of those things, like acid, I only did like maybe 5, 6 times, and they're months apart. And we would go to like a nice location with like a nice view and get like food and like a little blanket, and we like have our speaker. So we like play some music, watch a sunset or something. And it's just like something to try out. I was kind of just experiencing different things. Molly, the thing with Molly is it's an upper, so when you come back down, it's not too fun. Like you might feel a little sad the next few days, but I didn't do any of like the sounds messed up. I didn't do like the harmful ones. I did more of the mental ones. Like I wasn't trying to go like take a Percocet or take like codeine or like Oxycontin. There's ones that will really, really, really mess you up badly slash kill you. And I kind of was scared of those. Like I don't really want to touch those, so to speak. I'm more just like the party ones, if that makes sense. Or like,
Hmm.
yeah, like I wasn't trying to go take a Percocet or like an oxycodone or codeine or,
Yeah.
heroin or, anything crazy, meth. Like not, I couldn't,
Thank God.
I never would have touched that. But
I'm
like,
grateful for that.
it's like, you want to go take Molly and go to my mansion and sit in my Bugatti and listen to music. Like I'm down. Like sure.
Gosh. Okay.
I got this
In
is
the past, right? In the past. In the past. Yes?
I'd probably still be down if someone asked me that. Like, shit, I was
Yeah.
sorry, a Bugatti? Like, yeah, I go. But no, like I don't currently no, I'm not doing anything. Just
That's good. And currently you're working and doing really well, right?
yeah, no, I'm enjoying it, enjoying life.
That's awesome. There's a question in the chat that says, Kyle, what do you recommend for those your age that would help them more successfully navigate our current times? And how can parents better support their kids on their journeys?
I have a question. What do you mean by navigate current times is my question. Like you mean like with our president, and like with
I think it's
ICE and like the fact that like we're about to might be in a war, or the fact that like Germany like pretty much declares as a third world country. They said it's not safe to go to the US. There's genocide going on right now. You got ICE deporting people and killing people.
Yeah, I think it's all of that. And
Uh,
so the question is, how
oh,
can we support? That's the question. I think it's all of that.
I have no idea. I'm not like proud to be an American right now, so I have no idea. I really don't know. It's horrible what's going on. I don't know how you can deal with it personally. I don't know if there's much you can do, vote.
Vote. How about that? Yes, vote in the upcoming election to try to change the House and the Senate, right?
Yeah, vote. Yeah, definitely, most definitely vote. Um, yeah, other than that, I just minding my business, try to stay well informed. I think it's very, very hard to navigate all that. Plus, you got AI doing everything. So my friend and I are trying to, work on businesses with like just using AI. Like I'm not even like every job that I would like, normally you got to pay someone to do.
Mm-hmm.
This right now, currently, I'm just using entirely AI. I build you a website with AI. I could have an AI, person be like, "Hey, you have a PhD in psychology," and I could just talk to him, and it would have a PhD in psychology. I could just program it. I could make my own chatbot if I wanted. So it's just like very interesting to navigate because you think about what jobs are going to be there in the job market in the next few years and what things will be stable, what things won't be stable. And it's a great unknown area. Even if you tie that into the political scene, it's all a great unknown. So personally, for me, I just do what I can and
Yeah,
try to be positive, try to be a good person, try my best, and
good person.
whatever happens, happens after that.
Right.
I can
There's so
look
many
you know.
say that. Sorry, I cut you off.
I was just saying at least like I can look myself in the mirror at the end of the day, most days, and be like, hey, I had a good day today. Or at least someone had a good experience talking to me, or
Yes.
I was positive. I just try to be positive for the most part now and leave it
I
at
love that you try to be positive. I wanted to ask you if there's one thing there's so many more questions in the chat too, but I had a question as you were talking, two questions, and you say being positive. Is there anything that you learned growing up that you take with you every day now from our relationship?
that. Yeah, I think people ask me all the time, like, is there like how are you doing? I always say can't complain. Um, just because now, I can't for the most part. It's, in good health, I'm alive, family's good. There's things to be grateful for, so I just try to be appreciative for the things that I can be appreciative of and
Yes.
move forward. That's all you can do.
And be positive. I love that. I definitely Love that. You try to stay positive no matter what. People are saying God was definitely with you. Um, are the prescription drugs worse than the street drugs? I'm so clueless.
I don't know if any of it's necessarily good. I think it's all pretty bad, but I will say like no, like the street, like you don't because you don't know what you're getting off the street. Like a prescription in general, like if someone's like that would include like Percocet, Xanax, like codeine, like stuff that people prescribe for if you got an injury or like you just had a surgery. Those ones are really, really bad for your health. Like those ones will give you like like that's how people get seizures and stuff when they get off of them. That's how
Mm-hmm.
they die. Like those ones are really bad. I
Yeah.
street ones aren't good either, like but it really just depends what you're doing, like street ones, you can die because someone laced you with something. So like
Yes.
for me, like I always knew like exactly where it was coming from because there's certain things that like just being around people with like a lot of money, like like this is coming from this because I saw it, or like this dude's growing it in his house, or like stuff like that, like shrooms.
Yeah.
I know like this dude like he was growing it in his house, and I'm like I know the guy too, or weed. I have friends with medicinal cards, um, but when it comes to other acid's like a piece of paper, so it's like things like that where like I personally, I'm not the type of guy that's gonna go take pills and that type of thing. I was never
Thank goodness.
I think pills, once you start getting into pills, like that's a dangerous road. Like I was never like pills are that's something else entirely. I was never I couldn't do that because I like that
I'm
one.
grateful for that. And lots of prayers have been on your side.
Yeah, I was just trying to have a good time. I was not trying to. I didn't need it that bad. I'm not trying to die.
I'm thankful for that.
Pills are not good. I'd say that if they're doing pills, like
Hmm.
that's bad. Like give me 1 second. So my computer's at like 8%. I just need to get my charger. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, no problem. I just have a couple more questions, and I'm going to open up the line if anybody wants to comment or say something to you when he comes back. I love what he just said when he said, I'm not trying to die, because that's how Sunrise was born. So, when he did try to end his life, as we all know, as you know, so I'm grateful and so thankful to hear him say, I'm not trying to die. That is really powerful. So he stepped away to get his charge cord, and he'll be right back. And I'm loving all the love signs,
Kelly.
prayer hands. Yes, please. Good morning.
Hi, Kelly. It's Linda McGee. How are you?
Hey, Dr. Linda. I'm good. How are you?
I'm really well. I'm really well. I'm happy to be here today, and I'm thankful and grateful that Kyle is here today. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
and to see him emerge as an adult is a blessing.
yes.
I just wanted to address a couple of points. One is that it's interesting how the people that are listening in and Kyle and his generation, they have a different view on drugs. And they
That's
sometimes see and know the dangers of things that are prescription, which we typically think of as safe, quote unquote, absent abuse.
right.
Um, the legal versus the illegal, the dangerous versus the non dangerous, it has a real generational separation. And I
Yeah,
just wanted to sort of highlight that, right?
yes.
Um, and the what you were talking about when I came on, which has been about 20 minutes ago, was this issue of what parents should do when they have kids who are late high school, particularly. Should they introduce the idea of alcohol or in the home, or
Right.
should they
In the home.
allow the child to drink under controlled circumstances? And none of us grew up with any of that. Okay,
Right,
most of the people that are listening here did not or would not have had a parent that would have allowed them to have a beer before they went to college or whatever,
right,
or coordinated with other parents so that there'd be alcohol at a party for high school graduation or something. That didn't. Most of that did not happen outside of some pretty abusive situations in most black homes. But it is something to consider considering that they're being inundated with messages, with friends, and with the availability of alcohol and other substances and drugs and marijuana and pills, it's something to consider not having your child go away for college and have their first use there, right?
That's a very
In
different
an
paradigm
uncontrolled.
shift. But I hear
Yep.
you.
So
hmm
I just wanted to bring that up because it's like, I get what you said. I got how you grew up. I grew up in the same way, but I don't know if that's the best way to raise the 20 kids.
Not today, correct.
Hmm.
I agree with you. Do you agree with that, Kyle?
Yeah, I agree with it. Yeah, the thing is just as Miss McGee was saying, you could.
Uh-oh, you froze. Kyle, you're frozen. We'll wait for him. I don't know if you can hear us, but you're frozen, Kyle. I'm gonna send him a text
Hmm.
to say that he is frozen mid-sentence.
Hmm.
I'm sure he'll be back. I agree with you as well. Let me just say,
If I felt like it, I could.
hey Kyle, you have a wait, hold on one second. Kyle,
Yeah,
He
sorry,
can't log
I have to
in
get on
from
my,
his
I have to get
phone.
on my phone. Yeah.
okay, stand by. We'll take this other one off. We'll meet you. There you are. You're on your phone. Okay, perfect.
Okay,
Thank
sorry, my apologies. Yeah, that's awkward. But yeah, no,
We were talking. Go ahead.
um, yeah, I was just gonna say the availability of it is just so much different. Like if I at any given point in time, or at least me, and it's different for different people. Some people you might have to go, maybe it's you got to go talk to a friend or you got to know a few people to be able to get alcohol. But I knew everybody is the problem. So like, if I felt like it on a Tuesday, I could go out and get a beer at any point in time. So it's just like it's accessible to me at all times. Um, so it's really just whenever I felt like it is the problem.
right.
I agree. I'm like, I'm not saying you got to condone your kid drinking because that's not necessarily good, but it's just like you got to understand that there's a good chance if they know a few people like that they can get beer or something
Right.
on a random Saturday. But it's still kids. Like I wasn't drinking every day or anything. At that it's been high school. Um, I was more so, like I said, I was more so of a weed person anyway. But like even if I went out, for me personally, for the most part, I would just prefer to smoke weed than drink. But occasionally on a Friday or Saturday, if I'm with my friends and you know, I don't know, like we're it could be a million different things, but occasionally like, I have a few beers, yeah, and we just have a good time, and I go home, go to sleep, just be about it. Yeah.
I have another couple questions, and then I'm going to open up the floor before I can't. We're almost out of time.
Okay.
Um, as we work really hard on rebuilding trust now, what would help you feel supported and respected? And what things might I do or do I do that make you pull away, if at all?
And
How can I
like,
better support you and as we work to rebuild trust?
I feel like you do a good job supporting me. Yeah,
Oh, good.
like I don't really, I you're pretty positive, pretty supportive. I don't know what else you could do.
That's
Just,
wonderful.
you do a good job at positive reinforcement. You're very good at that. So I appreciate it.
That makes me feel good. I work really hard. And behind the scenes, I'm breathing sometimes when you text me in the middle of the night. But that makes me feel good. Thank you. Um, and I feel like we've gone through so much over the last 6 years and before, and there's been a lot of growth on my part because I used to be so controlling. And so I've now really surrendered. And as you know, I wear the Serenity Prayer on my chair, on my neck every day. It's really about acceptance. And so, do you think that growing up, you felt such a focus on performance? And did you ever feel truly accepted just for Kyle versus Kyle the swimmer Kyle? Everybody called you swimmer Kyle.
Ye-
Do you feel
Probably
like you
probably
were
not. I don't
accepted?
think I don't think I did, but like that that was much more of a personal journey for me. Like, I don't think that had anything to do with you. I just like nowadays, like I had to figure that out, like figure out who I was for myself. Like, you weren't involved in that personally. I needed to figure out what I need, like, who I was.
Yes.
That was a billion different factors, I don't even know where to begin with that. Like I personally just had to, as I said, I had to mess up. We had all the rehabs, and I went to these places, and I learned a lot of things, and it helped. Um, that I got to hear from a bunch of different therapists, and I think I made a lot of personal growth, even though I didn't want to at first. It was just one of those things where it just takes time, and for me, I needed to. Nowadays, I know I'm a good person. I just try to be honest and positive, and I don't really try to worry about anything anymore. I just do what I have to do and try to stay grounded and grateful. But there's times where I'm trying to be a certain type of way, or try to um, you know be a way for someone else, or I used to try to kind of appeal to other people, I guess, and so that one took me a long time. But currently now I just um do what's right to do what's right, and
Yeah,
for the most part, and just try to be a good person, just to be a good person, because that's what I am. And I figured, I finally realized, there's no point trying to be what you're not, I guess.
there's no point trying to be what you're not, and you are a good person. What are
Yeah.
you most proud of when you look at this past, this journey, our past 6 years? What are you most proud of about who you are today?
I think I'm proud of the calmness that I keep saying, for the most part, because I occasionally still get a little mad, but I think I'm a lot more calm these days than I used to be, and I have a lot, like, because I'm not worrying about other, what's going on, or what someone else is thinking of me at all anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot easier to deal with everything else, because if I had to sit here and worry about what some girl might be doing, or like, I don't know, like what's going on with this person over here that I just talked to, 3 days ago, or I had to worry about any of that, I think I'd be stressed. But I don't worry about any of it because I don't care. So it's. I think I'm a lot more calm these days. It's just, yeah. There's only so much you can do. Like I do, say what I say, and leave it at that. That's
That's
it.
awesome. That's awesome. The calmness. We have just a few more minutes, and I want to open up the floor. If anybody wants to ask a question or comment or share, feel free. You can hit *6 if you're on your phone, or you can come off of mute if you're on Zoom. If anybody wants to open up, I know Dr. Linda shared earlier and appreciate you always.
I have
And
a
yes,
um
go ahead. Good morning.
something. Good morning. I want to thank you guys for this opportunity. I have a 17-year-old, 6'2", male son, and um, I I have hope that in 6 years, maybe he will figure himself out, and um because I'm like stressed, like you said, about being a parent, and how do you protect them from this but let them do this, and how do you do this but don't let them, it's a lot. And so I'm just grateful for hearing the progress and how he had to learn for himself, and I know that in my head, but it's hard to work out. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. Go ahead, Kyle. Did you want to share?
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I feel like that's just a difficult situation to navigate. I don't. But it's, or seeing them mess up as a parent. Obviously, I'm not a parent, so like, but in terms of what I assume it is, I feel like seeing them mess up, as a parent, you really care about them. it's hard, and you don't want those things to happen, and I think that you still got to guide them a little bit, because my parents were still like, I still definitely got some good lessons from my parents, and I know what's right and wrong because my parents were always tweaking about it, so like I definitely
Hey,
knew.
tweaking.
But like I know what's right and wrong because of the guidance. So that being said, I think, yeah, I still needed my personal journey as well. I think they can coexist. You know,
They can
but
coexist. I think
uh,
that's right.
uh,
You got lessons. Coach Bev always talks about planting the seeds, and at some point those seeds will bloom because you have the grounding and you know what's right. And before I have time, I see Jules has her hand up. So good morning, Jules, and thank you for the comment
Good
to the.
morning. Kyle, I just wanted to ask you, so I have almost a similar, very situation, very much a close school in Bethesda as well. My son now is 25. And when he is now, one of my sons, the one that's 25, he got engaged, and all his friends during that time came back and they were talking about how I was crazy during that time. And I was like, I was the same thing. I'm coming to that party. You all, that part, because I was that house that did not allow, and my kids were doing things, I mean, literally mirroring. But one of the things that they recently said was, in hindsight, they were like, we're glad you did your own work because you're not so crazy. But now that we're a little older, I'm sure glad you didn't give up on us. You didn't give up on me. You kept it, because now at 25, he was like, we were really challenging. And I'm like, you think? And we talk about it. But I asked him similarly, like, what could I have done different? And he was like, well, you could have done your own work earlier. So I want to throw that out there, listeners. You could have done your own work earlier. He's like, but I'm not sure it was a bad thing following up so intently, because the one thing I did know, it's because you loved me. You were crazy, but you loved me. So what are your thoughts about that?
yeah, I think, yeah, no, I definitely appreciate the fact that it's nice to, it's, like, your mom loves you, like, because she's uh you know doing what she does,
Doing the
like,
most. That's what I hear.
yeah.
You always did the most.
She's doing them up, but so that they love you, so like, I definitely appreciate that aspect for sure. But yeah, like I said, it's not like I'm mad about the situation nowadays. I just I think if we knew what, like, both of us like knew what we knew now, it wouldn't have went that way at all, is all. So I think it was just a learning process, but we didn't learn till after the damage was done. So at that point in time, I
Right.
think it was really bad, and we like beefed all the time. There was a bunch of stress, and it was, we had some problems, so because of that. But at the same time, it's like, I know she loves me, and I appreciate that, that she cared. It's just, I don't know, at a certain point, I was like, I felt like I needed to, you know do my own thing. But it's, it happens, stuff happens, and you live and you learn. So I don't know.
Thanks, Kyle. Really appreciate you coming on. You've really been way more helpful than you would ever. And I would say a lot of this experience got a bunch of us doing our own work in therapy. So thank you.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you for that. So I can't believe we're out of time. Kyle, I want to have you, before we close out in the prayer, I just want to have you share any last words of wisdom for parents. Any last words of wisdom, and then I'll close us out with a prayer.
I don't know. I think, like I said, you just do what you can, and if anything, maybe that's just starts with the conversation with your kid, and
Yeah,
just see what happens from there. Everyone approaches stuff differently, so I think just try to have a conversation with them. Realistically, they're probably not going to want to talk, but you got to try anyway and see what happens.
yeah.
That would be my advice. So I don't know.
That was perfect advice. And what you grounded us in is really the importance of communication and focusing on the relationship versus being right. And I think I was always focused on being right or controlling back in the day. And so the beautiful thing about now is that you're walking your own path, you're making your own decisions, you're grounded in faith and great principles for living a great life. And you are a good person and a kind person. I'm so proud of you. So thank you for being here this morning. I'm going to close us out with a prayer because Dr. D who always closes us out, is actually doing a sermon this morning at a big church in
Dr. Vicky.
I say, oh, yes, Dr. D. Dr. Vicky is closing us out in prayer, doing a prayer this morning, so she's not able to be here, so I'll do my best. And Kyle, again, thank you forever. I love you forever. I like you for always, as long as I'm living. My baby, you'll be.
Thank you.
That's our prayer. But here's the prayer for today. Thank you for everybody for being with us this morning. Heavenly Father, we close today with hearts full of gratitude. Thank you for this space, for this community, and for the courage that was shared so openly by Kyle. Special thanks for Kyle's willingness to speak, to be vulnerable, to be honest, and to lead with his heart. Thank you for the strength it takes to open up and for the way his words touched and encouraged all of us today. May you continue to guide him, protect him, remind him his voice carries purpose and light.
It's okay. It's okay.
I know, baby. Bless everyone here as we leave this call. Hold us in grace, deepen our compassion, and help us carry forward what we've received today into our lives and into the lives of others. We release this time with gratitude, love, and trust in your continued presence, God. Amen. Thank you, Kyle. I love you so much.
I love you too, man. Love you too.
Have a great week, everyone. We'll be back next week. As always, Dr. Linda will be joining us for an open session. So come and share. And I'm grateful for the 6 years of this incredible community. Thank you. And thank you, Kyle. Have a beautiful day.
All right, you too. All right, love you. Thank you.
Love you, everyone.
All right.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Awesome.